Hey, in this video, I'm going to show you how to hack into AWS ECS using SSRF. Let's get started. But before we get started, I just want to tell you this video is for educational purposes only. So don't try these on system you don't have permission to test. Otherwise, we'll be both in trouble. So let me share my screen. So this is level 3 challenge of Flaws2.cloud. If you want to watch level 1 and 2, I have a playlist up there. So you can click on, you can watch level 1 and 2. It's good. It's how you can get to this page basically. So this level, it says the containers web server you got access to includes a simple proxy that can be accessed through these links. So we can see a proxy here, but it's very simple. What it's doing is using the container to access the link right here. This is it. It accesses basically the original Flaws.cloud website, but we're using a container as a proxy to access this website. So it's a very simple proxy. And this is running on AWS ECS, which is Elastic Container Service on AWS. And all we do on this service is to run Docker containers. So this is a Docker container running on AWS ECS. And the vulnerability that comes into mind when we look at this link is one of them is server-side request forgery, right? Because this proxy is accessing this URL, but we want to know how we can make it access other URLs, potentially maybe even internal URLs. Because if we could access internal URLs, we can find out like the environmental variables within this Linux machine. And I said Linux machine, how do I know it's a Linux machine? Because on level 2, when we found out the configs of the container, right, the layers and everything, you can watch level 2 up there if you want to see this. We can see the OS is Linux, is in fact Linux. So on Linux, we know where the environmental variables are, and there we can potentially find the pathway to its credentials or to the role that is using, the credentials of the role that it might be using. So I'm going to get rid of this. And in the proxy, I want to access the path that is like proc slash self slash environ. Yes, that's the path. So I click on that. I press enter to access. And this is it. Inside that Linux machine, there is this environmental variable, right, with a pathway. And this pathway is very important because it's a GUID, global unique identifier, for the credentials of the role that this container is using, this Docker container is using, or this Linux machine is using. Now that we have the full path right here, we can use the proxy to get access to the actual credentials, the role, the credential role that the ECS uses. And this path, I must say, you cannot just access it using like public IP, but we don't need a public IP and we don't need access to an internal IP. All we're doing is using the proxy to access to it because the proxy, that web server in there, already uses this role. Okay, so for that, we are going to use that proxy and we're going to enter an AWS internal IP or an IP that AWS uses to access these credentials. So 169.254.170.2, and the rest we need to just enter the path right here. So the path to the credential is right here. There's this extra slash right here, so I'm going to get rid of it and we're going to try to access it. Sorry, I entered the IP wrong for some reason, so I'm going to get rid of that. Now we can access it. Here, there we go. So in here, we can see it right here. Access key ID and secret access key. It's all in here. All the AWS credentials, everything we need is here for that role. And now our favorite part is to use the role to see what he has access to. So we're going to create a profile. So we're going to create AWS configure -- profile and we're going to call it level 3. This is what we're going to call the profile, and it wants our access ID, access key ID, which is, we're going to take it from here, paste it right here, and then it needs secret access key, which is from here to here, that as well, paste it here. And the region is not given to us, but it's the same, it must be the same thing as before, but I don't think we need it anyway, so I'm not going to add it in there. And the other thing we want to do is that we want to add the session token. So I'm going to do nano dot AWS credentials to add the session token in here. And we can see the key, the access key ID, all of those things up there for level 1, which we did, which also we used on level 2. So AWS session token is what's needed here, equals, I'm going to copy it from right here till here. That's nice. Copy and paste it right here. And yes, that looks good. I'm going to exit this and make sure it's saved. Nice. So we have it. I want to make sure that this credential is valid. So let me do AWS SDS get color identity and dash profile level 3. So yeah, it returned us the user ID and everything, so we can tell if it's a valid identity. Now, our favorite thing that we like to do is that we want to find out what S3 buckets this thing has access to, or what other like crazy access it has. So I'm going to do AWS S3 ls dash profile level dash profile level 3. So yeah, we can see it has access to these buckets, which Flaws2, Flaws level 1, level 2, level 3. So we want to see the end. Yeah, that's I guess the link for the end. Let's see where it takes us. If I copy that and go on my browser, paste that right there. And that's it, the end. Congrats, you completed the attacker path of Flaws2. There is also a defender path. We're going to do the defender path for sure. If you enjoyed this and learned some things, please tweet about it and mention it in your Slack. I'm already mentioning it on my YouTube, and I'm going to be posting on LinkedIn too. I'm an independent security consultant, and if you'd like to help with your AWS security needs, assessment, training, and more, please reach out. Email is scott@summitroute.com, visiting summitroute.com, or sending me a DM on Twitter to that. So yeah, thank you, Scott. Thank you so much for creating this. I learned a lot completing this challenge. And yeah, that's it. Thank you guys so much. Next thing, we're going to be doing the defender's path, which is interesting. I'm not going to show you much on the defender's path. We're going to do it on the next video. Thank you guys so much for watching.